And so when we think, you were saying, think a happy thought. Right. That might not work. And I'll tell you why. So I talk about, I don't use the term positive thoughts. Okay. Because sometimes people are using what they think is a positive thought, and it's actually not working for them. Right. So I use the term powerful thoughts. So for instance, if you're yelling and screaming at me all day long, and I'm saying, you know, that doesn't make me happy, so I want to think positive thoughts. Right. So I think to myself, I am happy. I am happy. I am really happy. That's not going to work. That
right,
is
because
doesn't.
Somebody's still yelling at you.
Someone's
you know,
still yelling at me. I'm
right,
not happy.
Right.
Okay, so that's not true for me. If, however, I have a thought of I choose happiness, which is a thought of purpose, I wonder how I could be happy. That's a thought of wonder and possibility. Right. It would be great if I could be happy. What does happiness look like for me? How can I be happy? Again, state of wonder, vision, purpose, possibility. And then that starts getting me into defining, well, what is happiness? How am I thinking and being if I am happy? And then I can start practicing being like that now.
Now, do you try and do that when someone's yelling at you? Or if you have somebody coming at you and saying, what's wrong with you? You didn't do this right, you're late, this looks terrible, da-da-da. I mean, do you kind of go into a state where you're thinking, boy, I wish I could be happy. It would be wonderful to be happy. You know, I mean, how do you do that when somebody's physically yelling or something?
In the last chapter of the book, I talk about how to put it into practice. Right. I mean, I'm doing that throughout the book. It's just summarized back there. And I talk about this basketball coach. He's a shooting coach, and he teaches a lot of the professionals to shoot. And it's interesting to hear him talk, because he'll talk in a lecture for 2 hours and the entire time be shooting baskets and making every shot. I mean, it's completely amazing. What he talks about when he's teaching people to shoot is to first shoot by yourself. You know, don't shoot when all the people are in front of you, and shoot the shots that are closest to the basket.
Of course.
So for us,
easier to make.
If we're having 60,000 thoughts all day long, there is so much time during the day when we're not with anyone and we're having our thoughts. While we're driving, while we're getting dressed, while we're going to the bathroom, while we're going up and down the elevator or on hold. I mean,
plenty of alone time.
A lot of alone time that we can be watching our thoughts and then choosing what kinds of thoughts we would prefer to have. Then when it comes time to actually practice having the thoughts, we're prepared. And then let's say it happens. So now I'm prepared for what kinds of thoughts I'm choosing to think in my interaction with you when you're typically not nice to me. So then the moment comes. Well, sometimes our brain's fight or flight is a lot quicker than we are. Right. And so the person comes, the button is pressed, boom, all of a sudden, we who are now watching our thoughts now see our mouth is going and we're going, whoa.
Oh, yeah. Pull that one back in.
I don't want to be saying that. That's not what I mean to be saying. That's not what I'm doing. And so one of the things I talk about doing is practicing the do-over. Yeah. So do it over. As soon as we become conscious and notice, stop and say, wait a minute, I want to do this over. And start again. I'll even leave the room, come back in, and start with the compliment or whatever it is I wanted to start with.
This is what you're kind of doing to practice,
and so
before the encounter happens.
We can practice, well, if we're doing the encounter and we catch ourselves in the time of the encounter, we can do the do-over then. Maybe upon reflection we realize that we didn't follow what we had hoped, so we can do the go back and do the do-over with that person, or just do the do-over by ourselves. The important part is practice.
Okay. Now you're saying do over by yourself. So you let somebody kind of hit your button 0 to 60. They made you mad. Somehow you weren't successful at keeping the thoughts there. So you're saying later on you can go back and say, revisit. You know, I could have done this. Next time I'll do this. So does that kind of reconnect in your mind?
And practice it. Actually practice the scenario. So I can actually remember the person and what they said, and then I can practice the new thought that I would prefer to think.
So the next time it happens, that
and
might
even
come
say
more
it out
naturally.
loud.
Okay.
Because it's the brain that needs the practice.
Okay.
It's the practice that makes permanent.
Right.
And so even if I'm by myself reliving the scenario and rethinking it, I'm giving the brain the chance to practice and to rewire its neural nets to then come out and automatically act in the way that I had hoped.